Hey folks, co-host Topper here with a small announcement before we get to this week's pit stop. Cussler Hustlers is going to be switching back to releasing new episodes every 2 weeks for the foreseeable future. Right now, it is a real sprint for me to get it edited in time, and if we miss a recording session, we straight up miss an episode that week. Nancy and I are both busy, and we just can't fit this into our schedules every single week. And every time we try and get a backlog of episodes, something horrible happens and we run through the backlog even faster than we thought we would. So switching to every 2 weeks will take a huge stress out of my life right now and allow me to do more experimenting with editing, music, and other stuff to maybe help the show out. On top of that, I'm currently releasing the occasional video for a writing Discord that I'm on, and I'm working on a semi-fiction podcast related to the novel I'm currently writing. I've got too much on my plate, and I need to start taking smaller portions. Perhaps someday, when we have the sort of listenership that a Patreon could support, I can start doing things like hiring editors, but in the meantime, it's just me, and you get what you pay for. That said, we would like to thank all of our listeners who've stuck with us for, my God, it's been like a year and a half now. What are you doing with your lives? 50 plus episodes of the Cussler Hustlers. We appreciate it. We're doing it for you. We're doing it because we're having fun. And we're doing it because we're humans, and that's why we're here. Do things, have fun, and be nice to each other. Thank you.
Famed author Clive Cussler.
The hero Dirk Pitt. Pit stop. Pit stop. Pit stop. Pit stop. Pit stop is up and coming.
Pit stop. The Cussler Hustlers recap episode with Topper and Nancy.
So 119 years ago, yesterday, but for fun, for comedy's sake, let's say September 11th.
Yes, for comedy's sake.
1905. Henry Ford broke the barrier on manufacturing 25 cars a day.
Okay.
That was the manufacturing barrier that was seen as impossible.
So it's his fault.
The 4-minute mile. And just the staggering amount of human capacity and growth we've had in 119 years. From the Model T to the moon landing to the iPhone. He didn't invent the car. He didn't invent rubber. But consumerism he might have been on top of. And anti-Semitism. Don't forget that.
For once, I wasn't going to get political.
Oh, he's intrinsically political because he
Oh, God, yeah.
tried to overthrow the government. He had a newspaper called the Anti-Semitic Times. It's a little on the nose.
Was it actually called that? Wow. Yeah. They hadn't yet learned the term as mask off or hide your power level back then.
We're still so new. I mean, I was just listening to something about, Steve Jobs was really big in the PC world because he let them do uppercase and lowercase letters.
It's a breakthrough.
We go from that to people sending dick pics on their phones.
I was watching some very nerdy documentary about the history of monitors.
Oh, that actually sounds great.
And how that shaped computing, because, there wasn't the resolution to do lowercase unless the letters were going to be, an inch high on the screen.
Of course that would be a factor, because you have the pixels, and those pixels were huge. They were half an inch across.
And then there's all these gangs of nerds in different, either at colleges or universities or in the military, working on their own version of here's how we think monitors should be for the entire planet for the next 100 years. And no, our method's better. And while they're doing that, there's people working on graphics compression in the 60s. As soon as there was a winner, that was it. We nailed it down. That's the winner forever. Nobody's ever deviating. And they interviewed one of the guys 50 years later whose monitor was based on triangles. And even nowadays, he gets graphics compression that's like several times better than anybody else. And it's wild because if they'd stuck with that, it would have made video games so much better, so much earlier, because it's like...
And it's not too hard to imagine a triangle, especially if it's big enough. It's just...
Well, no, like, the monitor was square, but how everything was rendered on the screen was basically triangles rather than squares of pixels.
Okay.
They get to do a bunch of math, but it was really neat. And he's like, 50 years later, he's like, I still think mine was better. But whoever gets across that finish line first and puts the flag down and stakes their claim, that's technology now. Everything else is obsolete.
Just first has always been the case. I imbibe American history before bedtime because it's depressing and it makes me want to shut my brain off. Hamilton went up to Madison and Jefferson and said, I want this banking. I want a U.S. bank. And they said, we'll do it if you make the seat of government in Virginia. We don't want to commute. So two assholes didn't want to commute, and that's why we have a Federal Reserve. It's always been just pick the first thing.
Butterfly effect.
It's always been just pick the first thing.
Dominoes.
All those guys were under 40. They were just assholes who didn't want to commute. As far as the conversation went, oh god, my pronunciation today. As far as the conversation went, according to history, they were drunk. They had to be drunk all the time. The water there was abysmal, but they were really soused. They wanted to go home.
They should have drained that swamp.
Same thing with the Electoral College. We're drunk, we want to go home, Electoral College. We'll write down this, that was a draft. That wasn't supposed to stick. They just didn't want to go back to the meeting. They were too far gone.
And now we have debates.
And how's your week been? Anything exciting?
Topic change.
Or no debates. Debates are good. Come on,
God,
did great.
No, not that.
Okay.
Well, yes, but no, he got up there and made himself look like an insane old man. My week has been good, mostly working from home. What did you do? Sorry, the cat just walked across my desk and now my laptop keyboard is wet. What did you do?
Congratulations.
You're the worst cat.
Mystery fluid from an animal is always fun. Do I have to wash my hands or simply cut them off?
We've acquired a new cat who's currently hiding out upstairs.
A kitten or full grown?
1-year-old.
Congratulations.
One of my daughter's friends has to rehouse their cat because there's only 2 people there and they're both gone like 18 hours a day. And they have a 1-year-old cat that's destroying the house. So we're trying it out, but both of our existing cats are not thrilled by this.
Cats fight to the death all the time, though. I had 3 cats at some point. It was the wrong move to have 3 cats. It definitely was. But they fought to the death every day. They seem to enjoy it after a while.
But since that cat has arrived, the other 2 are beating each other up more.
That's interesting. They know what's safe. They're angry. They have no place to put the anger, and they're too afraid to deal with the new thing.
They're beating each other up, and they're super cuddly. Because look at this one right now. Yes,
I know. Look at that. That cat is being so smug right now, and that banana tree is obscene for being in Canada.
It'll never make a banana.
Listeners, the leaves are like a full arm long. Another plant that has a lot of turnaround time is lemons. Jay wanted to get his parents a lemon tree for Father's Day. I was like, we can't even get them green bananas. What are you talking about? Lemon tree.
I don't care what excuse you've got. Nothing's gonna stop me in the middle of this speech. You're gonna lemon tree.
Pal. Oh, I lived in the 90s. There was the guy who played Freddy Krueger had a sci-fi series, and it was just every Friday night Monster of the Week sci-fi series. In the credits, they beam up a cow, and that has been erased.
I miss those shows. Up in Canada, we had one like that called Spacebar, which was a framing device. They would have a stage, they would have a couple of actors, and the whole gimmick was this bartender and a couple aliens on a space station watching movies, and they would have a sci-fi double feature. It was low budget, but it was tons of fun, and they would do skits about the movies. It was kind of like, not like Mystery Science Theater 3000 where they make fun of the movies, but they would do the skits in between all the commercial breaks.
I love that. I've always loved that stuff. I loved Elvira.
That was great.
Yeah, it was so cozy. I don't know why that's so lovable, but
I'm friends with these people. We're watching this movie together.
Oh my god, you're right. It was podcasting. It was parasocial. We just needed a friend. Oh, yeah, that revelation hurts. We were the lonely kids, listeners. Can you imagine?
And now that you've made me aware once again that we have listeners, hi, everybody.
Hi, everyone. We are doing a roundup episode of the books we've read previously.
Yes.
Because Topper doesn't have enough entendres. He needs triple entendres. The table his computer's on is built to handle 1 million pounds of entendres.
Most of them supplied by you. But yes, we
Cussler.
We are Cussler Hustlers. I am your co-host Topper. Over there is your co-host Nancy.
Hi.
And we are doing a recap show, a clip show, just because I need a break between books. And I thought it would be fun to go back, and I have a stopwatch, and we're going to put 10 minutes for each book, and we're just going to recap the previous 6 books as best we can and give them a rating.
Okay, so I think we should go from oldest to newest. So start with Mediterranean Caper.
Yes.
Okay, Mediterranean Caper.
Oh God, she has the book.
Dirk meets a lady on the beach, slaps her, they have sex.
I think our second episode was called Slap Sex, so yes.
Eventually, we get to somebody who's a trans woman. An island explodes. First time.
I don't believe... no. You are thinking of Iceberg, where Kirsty Fury was the trans woman at the end of that book.
Oh! There's no trans woman in this book?
Mediterranean Caper is where he meets... I don't even remember her name. Julie or Julia or something?
This was the first book I read sober. Sort of.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I didn't know what you were supposed to say to that. Nothing, not awkward, but... But my uncle died. I was like, oh my God, I gotta read this book. It doesn't make any sense.
This is where we have a World War II Nazi who is smuggling drugs, but he's pretending to be a World War I Nazi, which is very confusing.
Yes, in a yellow plane on a lavish island.
In the middle of the Mediterranean, and there's a B-plot about how NUMA, the National Underwater Marine Agency, is trying to find the missing link fish called the Teaser. Because this was back when Dirk Pitt books only had an A-plot and a B-plot.
Yes, and he was...
Not the C, D, E, F.
Being so adorable, like, you'll care about a fish, right? Because it's underwater stuff, and I like underwater stuff, too.
Science! My books are grounded. They're dealing with science. They're dealing with ichthyobiology. And there's also Nazis smuggling all the heroin in the world.
And if we drop, like, a coelacanth, or, a tyrannosaur or a plesiosaur, you'll just be impressed. It's a flex.
Dinosaurs. I wonder if Dirk Pitt ever finds, like, Hidden World, Lost World dinosaurs later on.
I don't care if I find dinosaurs. I am a Zeppelin nut. I was so happy when I got Cyclops and I saw the dirigible on the cover.
First sentence of chapter 1.
I used to love dirigibles. I had, in 4th grade, a book about dirigible accidents with graphic pictures. Didn't scar me at all.
Yeah, accident. Woo!
But I can't wait, and listeners, you can't wait either. It's dirigibles, it's volcanoes, it's the 2 best things. And it's Cyclops, and it's coming at you soon. But the Mediterranean Caper is just a lady who's very comfortable being partially nude around her uncle.
Uh-huh. I think it helps that he's not really her uncle. We find out, like, 2/3 of the way through the book that she's Interpol and just pretending to be this guy's niece to gather information, even though she's not gathering that much information and spends a lot of time just on a beach crying until she meets Dirk.
And a lot of lounging.
Oh, yeah.
Chasing, fainting, whatever those chaise couches were for. Whatever that position is. You're not quite prone, but you're on your side. She's doing that a lot.
It's the Mediterranean. It's really hot during the day, so you really have to nap until it's drinking time.
Right before we were podcasting for this book, I got a call saying my uncle was dying, like that day. Like that weekend was end of life. And I quit drinking. And I'm reading about the worst uncle in history. And I'm like, I don't even like saying the word uncle anymore.
Oh. Now I'm finding this out.
My never-ending joy for making you feel awkward and sad. Oh my God, I am the worst person.
I don't feel bad. Well, what kind
Oh my
of?
god, it looks like I killed a puppy in front of Topper.
No, I don't know how to keep.
I'm just saying it was deeply funny looking back on it. Because it was so wildly, cosmically inappropriate for those two things to collide. That makes the funny.
That I'll give you. Okay. I'm glad I could help you through this awful time with this weird podcast idea that you stumbled across on Reddit.
Yes, I know. And I do not have notes for this. As you might imagine, that was a exciting time of life. So I don't have notes. This is the only one I don't have handwritten notes for.
Well, I mostly remember it. So Dirk Pitt tries to investigate this Nazi while trying to sleep with this lady on the beach. The Nazi immediately tries to kill him, where if he had just sent him home, Dirk probably would have gotten bored and left. But the Nazi just keeps trying to kill him over and over. He locks him in a dungeon. He escapes in some ancient Greek ruins. He rides a donkey down a hill. He steals a boat back to the Numa ship. And they manage to send up a balloon full of explosives to blow up the World War I biplane that was coming to shoot them up the next morning. This sounds insane now that I tell it all in one long run-on sentence.
It's a great sentence. Work of art. It's like the opening scene to Goodfellas. Just one camera shot. So magnificent. It just wasn't a great book. He tried. The plot, he was reaching for it. He was reaching for the stars.
And these Hardy Boys books are great too. This one's about smugglers.
They're all about smugglers.
Oh, not this one. The Smugglers of Pirate Cove. It's about pirates.
Yeah, it was not very action-packed because the big climax was Dirk and all of his friends go diving. They find the secret cave behind the secret cave where the Nazi submarine was. And they pop up, and then it's like 20 straight pages of Dirk and the big bad guy explaining the plot to one another.
They monologued quite a bit.
And then they shoot him and the good guys win. The end.
Yes, but the two-thirds of the book just gives you an awkward feeling.
Yeah.
And the next one is Iceberg.
Hey.
Oh, 3 minutes left. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, not that. I was going to say, don't forget, we're here to give these a ratings. So out of 10 Nazi biplanes, what do you give Mediterranean Caper?
Oh, this five Nazi biplanes. It was really limping along there.
That's about what I was going to give it, yeah. 9 out of 10, 5 out of 10.
Good first attempt by Clive.
Very good first attempt, which is kind of funny when you consider that the name of the Numa ship was the first attempt, which I think was just like a little self-referential dig at himself.
And I enjoyed his excessive use of the word diaphanous.
Yeah, he was in a zone there.
Everything that lady wrote.
Every time he got like too scientific and too caught up in his research, he somehow reminded himself, oh yeah, I'm horny. And then just the story meandered back to her or somebody else scantily clad.
Speaking of that, but not precisely that, do you know this show Baywatch?
Baywatch?
Baywatch.
Of course, yes.
International 90s phenomenon.
I never watched that.
I saw them in the Playboy. I just got right to the point and got the Playboy when they posed. I never actually saw the show, so I didn't know that there was a young male actor who played the lead actor's son. So there was a guy who was from the ages 8 to 16 on that show. He went through puberty being a kid on Baywatch, and it fucked him up.
I could see that.
He's like, I stole swimsuits, and I did things I'm not proud of. I'm like, dude, you weren't, like, nobody was watching you. You were being abused by neglect. It's okay. Oh, 1 second, dog. Somebody's coming home.
Doug?
Hi, Tucker. Just pet the dogs and settle in. I'm on the phone. Gordon, you can come over. You're already here.
Yay, Gordon's back.
Yeah. He was named after Gordon and the test pilot.
Ooh, sweet.
I was gonna drop some nerd knowledge on him. He already had it.
All 85 famous Gordons up here in Canada, and you have to name them after a famous American Gordon. They're stealing our Gordons.
Persistently egotistical.
All right, so that's 2 5 out of... Almost said 5 out of 5s. That's wrong. That's 2 5 out of 10s for Mediterranean Caper. Number 2, Iceberg. Oh god, she has all the books just ready to go here.
Yes, I do. I thought reading the back of it would be informative.
Ah.
Because a sum up of all the books has already been done professionally by people who sum up the books. A routine survey mission over the North Atlantic exposes a missing luxury yacht frozen inside a 1,000,000-ton mass of ice. The ship has vanished en route to a secret White House rendezvous, making it the responsibility of the United Underwater Marine Agency to find out what happened. In other words, it's time for Dirk Pitt to cut his vacation short and get back to work. When Pitt arrives on the scene and discovers the charred remains of the entire crew, something that we come across more than once, who weren't alive but never left their post, he begins to suspect the tragic loss of the ship to be only the first deliberate step in a far more sinister plan. And he's wrong.
Yeah, because for only being book 2, this plot is already vastly more convoluted, because at first you think, okay, it's just this plot to get the this underwater probe, this magical underwater probe that, what's his name, Nick Fury or whatever it was, something Fury, because at the end of the book is Kirsty Fury, and at the start of the book is Christian Fury. Kirsty Fury's twin brother.
Yes, Christian Fury, yes.
Dead name.
Yes.
It's this magical underwater probe that can find all the minerals underwater, and it'll change the complete balance of power for whoever owns this probe. But the probe is just, like, not even important whatsoever, because what's actually going on is all the billionaire industrialists are going to overthrow South America in order to fight off communism.
Yes, and if you're not on board, then you die. I've told the children I'm not available. They've used the bathroom closest to me, slammed the door, and I think left the site of that.
Outstanding.
I had 5 boys over yesterday. They all had to poop at once.
Yeah.
9-year-olds.
Yeah.
So out of 10 omniscient stoic Dirks, would you give this Iceberg?
I think this one was so much wackier than the first one, because we have Dirk pretending to be flamingly gay for, like,
He has some outfits in this.
half of the book. We have, for no apparent reason, the most detailed imaginable possible toy houses of the capital buildings of these South American countries that they're going to overthrow first, and there's never a good explanation for why they have them. And these toy houses, these models, are accurate down to telephones with tiny handsets that come up and toilet paper in the bathrooms. And they only exist so Dirk can recognize them and go, oh, that's the country they're going to overthrow. And third, this book ends with a sword fight in Disneyland.
Yes, in front of tourists.
In front of tourists.
Dirk murders the bad guys in front of children.
Murders the bad guys, except for the biggest bad guy, where he breaks his arms and legs one at a time.
I forgot! He does it to the death! Or to
the pain.
To the pain! He tortures a person in front of American children that are under 5 because he's doing it, like, on the teacups or something.
Yeah.
The tunnel of love. The tunnel of love, it goes so slow. So the kids have a lot of time to sit there
and really
and watch
savor it.
Everything. Ooh, I got some blood on my chin.
So this book, for book 2, really swings for the fences and in several opposite directions at once. So I will say, I don't think it was a better book. I don't think the plot made a lot of sense, but I had a lot more fun reading this one.
I had a lot of fun. I can't... Naturally, when spies get to the U.S., where do they go? Disneyland.
Disneyland.
Do the math.
Yeah.
Do the math. That was just an assumption made in the book that everyone just went along with, and it was delightful. I love it when we all get on board the silly train together. Like, this is the reality? Well, naturally, of course, all of the spies go to Disney World first. They have to. That's where they check in.
All these high-ranking South American commies, before they go home, they have to see what makes America great. Disneyland.
Yes. And then you go to an underwater lair, and they're picked off one by one as they descend. They're thrown off the island.
Personally, I'm giving this one a 7 out of 10, just because it's not great, but it's wacky, and for the time, probably the best trans representation you're going to find in the 70s in a macho man action adventure story.
Surprisingly positive trans representation.
Yeah.
She was never anything but beautiful and brilliant, even if it was, bad guy stuff.
Mm-hmm. She was kind of evil.
No, she was evil. She was a bad guy. But we can be modern and say,
Yeah.
she's a bad guy.
Well, she was being blackmailed as well. That's why I think she was kind of evil, because, like, she was in on this plot for a while, and then she, like, dipped out. Then they found her, and you're like, no, get back in the plot, or we'll, like, reveal your secrets to the world, and you'll be ruined.
Yeah, at some point you're still evil, though.
Oh, yeah, no, there's
Even if your secrets... Yeah.
definitely a non-zero amount of evil there.
There was a show called Utopia on Amazon where Rainn Wilson is asked, what is the amount of evil you have to do in the world to make it good? And he goes, 0. The amount is 0.
Yeah.
Just reminded me of that.
If everyone does 0, then things would be great. The problem is not everybody does 0, or knows how to count.
Or I give this book an 8 out of 10 for frenzy fun. This book is a cheese dream. It is all over the place.
Absolutely.
Every detail he could think of, he included in this book. He was like, this might be the last book, everything. I'm throwing everything at it.
I can't believe I got a book deal. I can't believe they want a sequel. Oh, God.
They want a second book? I'm out of ideas. It took me a whole lifetime to come up with the first book, and now I've got...
Yeah, I think mine loses a point for having no Al.
I did forget we had no Al on that one. After Iceberg is Raise the Titanic. My husband cornered me the other day to tell me a Titanic fact. I cannot get away from the Titanic. I'm like, you are telling me a Titanic fact?
Well, he's like, well, you've got that entire Titanic podcast going on. I thought you'd want to know.
I swear the Titanic, it's one of the 3 most recognizable words in the world still, is the fact.
Yeah. I mean, 110 years later, everybody instantly knows it. Although there was a big movie, I guess.
The success of our project is dependent upon our locating a specific mineral, Isanium. Isanium? Isanium.
And it was big before the movie, but yeah, that did help. That did help. You can major at it in college, in some colleges. This book was fantastic. I wish it was smell-o-vision. I am nostalgic for how much I complained about the scene. You were so pissed off at me for how much I complained about how much the love scenes would smell.
I wasn't pissed off. I was just amazed how, like...
You were 3rd grade teacher pissed off, which is very polite.
I was amazed how much you wouldn't let go of it. I was like, wow, you've really got your teeth into this, and you are...
I am still convinced she would have caught every yeast infection. Like, infections we haven't even heard of.
A new kind of dysentery has been discovered on the Titanic. Yeah,
and now it's dysentery. It's atrocious.
After watching the movie, it's amazing how much more was in the book. I know you have to simplify things for movies, but this was a TV movie, so they simplified the hell out of it. So much stuff happening with the Russians and spies and people getting murdered, and the MacGuffin. I forget what was the... Oh yeah, Byzanium. Byzanium. It's called Byzanium.
Isanium? Isanium.
The highly toxic radioactive substance that turns out not to be on the Titanic. It was just in a grave in Ireland that don't mitigate whatsoever. They go, oh yeah, this is where the Byzanium is. We better not tell anyone. Enjoy your cancer cluster, is what Stephanie, your wife, pointed out when she reviewed the movie.
Oh yeah, because in the movie they leave it in the ground because there's all that talk of someone's going to build a Byzanium bomb, and this was back when this was the no nukes 80s when this got made, so they left it in the ground. But in the book, America's like, fuck yeah, we got the Byzanium, and they make America completely nuclear proof because the Byzanium is used to power these reactors, which in turn power these sonic force fields which block missiles from entering US airspace.
Yes, like the ultimate Iron Dome.
Yeah.
No one can defeat us. We would be the Empire.
Mm-hmm. No one can defeat us unless they just happen to, put a nuke in a suitcase and walk it in. But that was more of a 90s thing. They weren't there yet.
Oh, yeah. I remember the plastic gun being made by, what's his name? To kill...
Oh, the device. Yeah, Shinzo Abe.
Shinzo Abe was killed by a plastic gun. I was thinking of...
Oh, a different one.
The Clint Eastwood movie where he is a Secret Service agent.
Oh. Is that Clear and Present Danger?
No, it is not Clear and Present Danger.
I am not good with those movies.
It's okay. We can leave it. But the bad guy had a plastic gun.
Plastic gun, yes.
I like this movie 9 out of 10 for incompetent henchmen. How incompetent of a henchman team do you have to give some nunnik time to get the Titanic free from its underground earthly tomb? Set afloat, working, have a love scene, have a breakup scene, somebody's marriage falls apart.
I think this definitely was the most interesting Russians we've had, because we had the Russian Dirk Pitt on this one, the guy who worked for the KGB and had like the Italian car and the French champagne and the Japanese kimono and talked like an American. And he's all like suave and sexy and working his way up through the KGB and gets hoisted by his own petard.
There could be only one. You can't have that many suave, stoic, fashionable, brave, uncomplicated, complicated men out there.
And you have Lauren giving a striptease while all the Russians have their guns trained on her, and this guy's gonna I'm going to cut her arms off one at a time and you'll watch. And all this is to buy Lauren? Dirk Pitt time. I don't remember.
She's Lauren, a congresswoman.
No, shit, it wasn't Lauren, it was the scientist's wife. That's right, because...
Yes, it was.
Because the scientist...
It was a scientist's wife because he went mad.
He went insane and saw a ghost in a mirror and punched the mirror and ran out of the room. And ends the book locked in an insane asylum.
But while he's going insane, to which a situation she's not fully aware. Like, she knows he's been tense. They're on ice.
Mm-hmm.
But she, they separately resolve. Like, he resolves to go fully mad, and she resolves to go fully divorced. Because, of course, he's imperfect, and says something about not being a wife anymore. She doesn't like being married and tied down, but in her head she's divorced, so that makes it okay for Dirk to sleep with her, because there was a cosmic divorce. So Dirk is not the bad guy here.
And she'll go off and be single and adventurous and finally live the real life of an 80s liberated woman. Even though the whole middle half of the book, every time anybody talks to her, they're looking at all the feminist books on her bookshelf and realizing that, oh my god, are you living with a lesbian? And you really weren't sure what the attitude of the book was towards what she was doing until she sleeps with Dirk, and then suddenly everything's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, now she gets it. Yeah, you see?
And the friend that we suspect, because she was staying with her friend who had all of those books, and that friend gets knocked up by some other...
Yeah, by the other...
See him once.
By the other scientist,
rumpled guy.
The fat scientist.
Yes.
The fat scientist who everybody makes fun of. Well, I want to call her Dawn, but I know that's not right. But the woman who sleeps with Dirk also goes on a date with the president by the end of the book.
Yes, she sets out to.
Yes.
At the end, she's like, I'm going to leave you now and go paint the town red, starting with the president.
This book was bananas.
This book was everything. It was a soap opera. It was science fiction. It was comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, it got...
There was a lot of drugs in this book. You gave it a 9 out of 10. I am giving it a solid 8.5. I seem to be just below you on these rankings, but I think I am possibly a harsher critic. I have a really hard time giving anything high marks unless I absolutely love it. Because I'm reading this book and I'm shaking my head going, what the fuck? This is so awful. But at the same time, I'm having a blast.
It was so much fun. It was so much fun. I think it was 10 episodes. How many? We did 10 million episodes of the Titanic?
9 episodes and the movie. So it was a full 10 to get through all of it.
And we'll only be haunted with Titanic facts and memorabilia forever.
Hooray! And book 4, Vixen 03. And I just had a very mild panic attack because I got to this and I'm reading the episode titles and I'm like, wait, what the fuck happened in this one?
That's why we're reading the back.
Then I remembered when I got to the end. Okay, so I'll let you read the back of the book and then I'll start rambling about what I remember from this book.
In 1954, Vixen 03 is down. The plane bound for the Pacific carrying 36 doomsday bombs. Canisters armed with quick-death germs of unbelievable potency. Vanishes. That is not an easy sentence. Vixen has in fact crashed into the ice-covered lake in Colorado. 1988. Dirk Pitt, who heroically raised the Titanic, lest we forget, discovers the wreckage of Vixen 03, but 2 deadly canisters are missing. They're in the hands of a terrorist group, naturally. Their lethal mission? To sail the battleship 70 miles up the Potomac and to blast Washington, D.C. into Kingdom Come. Only Dirk could stop them. I think this was the first book I got in French and German before I got in English.
Neat. Oh yeah, they sent you just like the wrong book right off the bat, huh?
Yes, this one I think I have front to back one language and then back to front the other language.
Sensible. And somehow we got through this one in 8 episodes. Yeah, this was where we started slowing down, because it was 8 episodes for this one, it was 9 episodes for Night Probe, and that's when we had to start doing pit stops in order to regain our sanity, which is what's happening now.
Yes, it is. I mean, this is where we meet Lauren here, I think.
Yes, I believe this is the first Lauren.
And she's lovely and educated and 32.
And a congresswoman.
Not a day over 32, lest you forget it. And she's hot.
She works out.
She lives in rural Colorado.
She jogs.
And she has badass neighbors who are, life goals. Relationship goals.
Yeah, that is definitely how my wife plans on us being in 30 years.
The Raffertys.
Just rustic weirdos, possibly living in the mountains, possibly selling military hardware on the side and committing treason. It was weird how that ended up with the Raffertys, because like the biggest, other than the very end of the book where Washington is bombed by a battleship, the fight and the shootout with the Raffertys is the highest action in this book.
Yes, and he eats
yeah.
bull testicles.
Yes, he does. Yay, mystery meat.
Oh, I caught COVID reading this book.
Wow, that's bad.
Not because it was correlation, not causation, but
Oh, okay, it's fine then.
I remembered, like, oh yeah, that old couple was so polite. They gave him dinner, and it was mystery meat.
Let's see, looking at the posting dates, I believe I caught COVID at the beginning of Night Probe.
Ooh, you have caught it a bazillion times, though.
I've had it twice, and the second time wasn't even that bad.
Oh, really? I thought it had more. So, yes, this was quick death. This was the first toxin.
Yeah. Something that will come back a few times, because it makes a great existential threat. But the toxin was also kind of an accidental B-plot, because the A-plot, technically, is a lot of this movie takes place in South Africa, or one of the countries next to South Africa, with a lot of talk about Rhodesia, and all of this is just some very weird false flag attack to get a battleship full of South African revolutionaries to sail up the Potomac and fire these ancient 16-inch rounds at Washington, and thus place the blame on the revolutionaries in South Africa to make all the countries give the South African government money to put down the revolutionaries. But just as a weird coincidence, these quick death shells, some of them ended up as military surplus and ended up on the battleship, so they almost fired quick death at Washington, which would have turned the entire continental United States and Canada and Mexico into an uninhabitable wasteland.
And Dirk finds the missing father of Lauren.
Oh, right.
Never tells her.
And finds Lauren's dad.
It never tells her.
At the bottom of a lake, and kills the Raffertys, the only other people who can corroborate that he found her dad.
Oh, I didn't even think of that detail. Yeah, the only detail that would make him seem sane.
Yeah.
No wonder he can't go spatting off about it. He would seem like a lunatic. What does she think happened to the Raffertys?
Dirk, my neighbors died. There was some weird shootout.
Those were the only neighbors she had.
And she was like friends with them.
Yeah, they were lovely people.
They were lovely.
We have no resolution in this book.
They were lovely except for the murder. I think Lauren has like some memory issues, which might explain why she's with Dirk for so long.
She must. I can sympathize with a girl with memory issues. But gosh, I did love, they're coming up he's just walking up the driveway and Mrs. Rafferty's like, fuck it. Today's the day.
Draws a gun, starts blasting.
Anyway, I started blasting. Bang!
Oh my goodness. So there was so many more plots. This got so much more international.
And the plots
he tried for geopolitics.
didn't even collide.
Yeah.
Like the Raffertys had nothing to do with the national, international politics. They just killed the guy. It was simple murder.
Yeah, except that it was the Raffertys who pulled up those quick death shells from the bottom of the lake and sold them as military surplus for money on the side.
Yes, but that wasn't... That was just greed. That wasn't terrorism.
Oh, I know. They
didn't know it was terrorism.
They had no idea that those shells contained quick death toxin. Yeah, I feel this one had some big swings and some big misses. Just because, boy, was there a lot of South African geopolitics that might have missed the mark there.
Oh, and 5 out of 10 for unresolved issues.
Yeah, they're...
Just this book will tie me in knots forever. Like, why did you eat the meat if you didn't know what it was, if that was such a big sticking point for you?
That was to make you laugh.
And Al is back in this book.
Yes, he is. Al is back and begins the first of what will be a long line of being shot in the leg.
Is he always shot in the leg?
It does seem that way.
This poor guy must have great regenerative capabilities. That was Vixen 03, and what was your rating at? What was the...
I was going to give this one a 5 out of 10. Just because it's well written, it's very complicated, it does have some, like, the whole Washington thing at the end with the battleship. There's a lot of stuff happening. I really enjoyed that. Like, the whole middle of the book. Fucking dragged, though. Because you're just like, can something cool happen, please?
In a lot of international politics, I don't think the United States was ready to read.
Yeah.
Easy fiction back then. We were so xenophobic. We didn't want to get international in our spy books too far.
Yeah, the next book, Night Probe, is also very international, but it's Canada, so we don't count.
No, Canada doesn't count at all. You're just America's hat.
Night Probe. This was our longest series ever, but that was because we had 2 very short episodes due to illness and hardware problems.
Oh yeah, I think all of our computers melted during this.
Yeah, but also, once again, a middle of a book that dragged, and kind of the end of the book dragged until it was flat out to the end. I think this one needed to be edited down by like 50 to 100 pages.
This book was just terrible. This book was 3 out of 10 MacGuffins. In the midst of an international crisis, Heidi Milligan, a beautiful, brilliant American naval commander, accidentally discovers an obscure reference to the long-buried North American Treaty, a precedent-shattering secret pact between the U.S. and Great Britain. The president believes that the treaty offers the single shot at salvation for an energy-starved, economically devastated nation, but the only 2 copies plummeted into the watery depths of the Atlantic in twin disasters long ago. The original document must be found, and the one American who can help them do it is Dirk Pitt.
Dun dun dun.
Yes, dun dun dun.
I would say this book had a lot of great characters and a lot of terrible set pieces.
Fair enough. The whole plot of finding a treaty, they would just throw it out. They'd be like, this is...
Yeah, like all 3 countries would go, no.
Yeah, don't be ridiculous.
This will be tied up in world courts for 50 years.
The complete waste of time of this book for the MacGuffin is unparalleled by his other fiction. It's just kind of boring. It's not his best.
Yeah.
And Heidi is very tame. She likes older men. So it's just like we're left with, oh, she's going to be a nursemaid to an older spy after her nursemaiding to an innkeeper thing was over with. The former admiral that died on land. Yeah,
like she is a naval commander, but every time she's about to go do something as like a high-ranking officer, there's like, oh, we need you over here to do some paperwork for us. Real quick, we need you to find this map of railroads. Can you do that? Awesome, thanks. And she brings them coffee.
How fast can you type? 65 a minute? Yeah.
And she brings them coffee during one meeting, which I was like, oh.
No, repeatedly. It was like 3 times.
Was it 3? Oh, shit. There was one at least that stood out as egregious, and I was like, you have to have the one woman in the book bring the boys coffee.
Yeah. She's like, I don't know, it just feels right.
Well, I can't have Al to do it. You know, he's got that leg injury.
And Vixen 03 is where he loses the pinky?
No, that is the end of Pacific Vortex.
Oh, okay.
Which we'll get to. No, Vixen 03, I don't know, what was Al's...
Vixen 03 we just did, Night Probe we're doing now. I just didn't cross off. Night Probe is Heidi here, with the London counterpart, and daddy issues.
I'm not sure if Al got any big injuries on this one, because he was left up on the mountain when everybody did the Night Probe dive into the mountain to find the cave where the train was to have the shootout.
That's a perfectly reasonable sentence. Can you say it again?
The British...
No, I'm not kidding.
No, I had to elaborate that this is a shootout between U.S. Marines and the British SAS on a mountain in, like, New Hampshire to find the treaty about which country Canada belongs to. Also, the book has James Bond.
Yes. You wonder, like, what kind of drugs we missed the really good stuff. Whatever they had back then is not around anymore. It is like, I'm watching Grand Designs, and there is this type of oak that they used to make for piers that doesn't exist anymore. But it used to be when it hit salt water, after an amount of time elapsed, it was stronger than steel.
Mm-hmm.
So this wood is amazing, and it's consequently
all gone,
forested out. Same here.
Yeah, I'm giving this one a 4 out of 10 just because there were a lot of moments I liked, and so much filler on this book. But I like Foscli, and I wish, like, one of the 5 times he died 5 times, but 4 of them it was a fake out, but the 5th one finally got him. But I was hoping the 5th one was a fake out so he would just come back later and be like Dirk Pitt's old angry nemesis.
Oh, Dirk Pitt's Jason Voorhees.
Ooh, I like that. All right, what do you give this messy monster of a book?
5 out of 10. Disappointed missing Krakens. The Kraken really could have helped this.
In the St. Laurent River.
Nessie isn't a lock. Dreams still have to have fences, Topper.
Oh. And number 6, the shortest and possibly craziest, because it was the first book he ever wrote, Pacific Vortex.
Pacific Vortex!
Yes. This felt like a first book.
Uh-huh.
It was very simple. Dirk Pitt, death-defying adventurer and deep-sea expert, is put to the ultimate test as he plunges into the perilous waters of the Pacific Vortex, a fog-shrouded area where dozens of ships have vanished without a trace. The latest victim is the awesome super sub Starbuck, bearing America's deep-diving nuclear arsenal. Its loss poses an unthinkable threat to national defense. Pitt's job is to find it and salvage it before international forces beat him to the prize, or the sea explodes in a nuclear blast, whichever comes first. Pitt's mission also leads him into the arms of Summer Moran, the most stunning, exotic, dangerous woman to ever enter his life. As the countdown heads towards disaster, Pitt has no choice but to descend through the shark-infested depths to an ancient island sunk from which he may never again emerge and see the light of day. Doesn't he have an ex-girlfriend get punched in the face in the beginning of this one?
Yes. So I can't remember her name either, but the woman that we meet at the start of the book is, as you called her, the island bicycle, and she's the daughter of, like, the naval
Oh, I am a terrible person. Jesus Christ.
The naval admiral who's in charge of all of Hawaii. And her and Summer, like, go outside to talk like women and just beat the crap out of each other. And Summer wins and comes back with, like, a bloody nose. And she's like, I won, Dirk. And they go for a walk. And then she tries to stab Dirk with a needle. She knees him in the crotch. And he reflexively punches her and knocks her out and then takes her back to his hotel room. This is how the book starts.
Which isn't creepy at all, because she's unconscious. And we get to know she's not really heavy on top, but she's really got junk in the trunk.
Yes, that was the name of the first episode for that miniseries, was The Biggest Ass in Hawaii.
Yes, 2 axe handles wide. Your grandma told tale of it.
Yeah, Clive wrote this one before he really knew what he was doing, and there was a lot less research on it, but he was just thinking, okay, tropical, sexy, action, people dying everywhere. There's the guns that make your guts come out your eyeballs. He fights a hammerhead shark. Dirk basically gets nuked at the end, but he's fine.
And all the island people have gold eyes.
Yes.
And the air smells of ammonia or
eucalyptus.
Bleach or something. Eucalyptus oil, yes.
Yes.
Because that combats humidity, because they all live underground. They're dehumidifiers. That dehumidifying air ducting system must have been on point.
The underwater island civilization that a bunch of scientists started in the 50s, and they were sinking boats and selling the shit that was on it for money.
Oh, yes, and they only got their numbers dwindled down to their last homeschool kid.
Yeah. Because
that's why
as far
he
as
had to
we
go
can tell,
batty.
Summer is the only woman in this culture.
She's Smurfette. Oh, sweetie. But she does, the island collapses and she gets blown up at the end because she won't leave her dad.
Yep.
Because every woman has to have father issues in these books. But that's not fair because everybody has father issues. We all get one. We'll have mommy issues too.
And it's the final shootout where that guy who's like 70 years old, but he's a 6'8" giant with golden eyes, and Dirk are in a shootout with like the last two guns underwater, and they're both half dead. Their legs are broken. They're scrambling towards it. They point the guns at each other's heads, and then Al appears out of nowhere and jams his pinky into the bad guy's gun and blows his pinky off so Dirk can heroically shoot Summer's dad in the head while she watches. Because that's what heroes do.
Yes, that's what heroes do. America.
Oh, America! Where have you been all my life? This is great! But how does America deal with alcoholism?
George Washington killed his enemy on Christmas. Yes, that's what we do. That's how heroes work. We'll do it in front of your children on Christmas morning.
This was an insane book. This was nearly a cartoon in book form.
Another extravagant usage of the word diaphanous. Because this lady has to wear flowing, see-through, kind of gauzy clothing to be the most alluring vixen he's ever seen.
Or at the end of the book, just like straight up naked when Dirk finally swims down through the vortex, ends up in the cave that happens to lead directly to her bedroom and her giant seashell bed where she's laying naked.
Again, she lives with her dad.
There's no doors, they're just curtains.
This family dynamic makes me uncomfortable. You should be ashamed of your bodies. Everyone.
But they're the hottest people in the world. They can't be.
I don't care. Put some clothes on. Somebody's got to change those sheets. That's not nice.
I love how that's your quote for like so many of these books is like, for Christ's sakes, put some clothes on, Nancy.
Sex negative, Nancy.
Some of us feel bad about ourselves, goddammit. Oh, I said that while you were drinking. Sorry.
Yes, I almost went through the nose. Thank you. So that was not a thing. It was just it was just written so he could talk about a woman's ass in see-through clothing
and cool guns.
Previously, he'd like to make sure his women. Clive Cussler liked to make sure his women were on the top-heavy side. So it feels like he was going a whole new direction for the 14-year-old boys. Bingo in here.
She's tropical and ambiguously ethnic.
Yes.
Which they make a real big point of pointing out. Like, Dirk has no idea which country she's from. She has dark skin, she has blue eyes, she has red hair, she has an ass like an Indonesian...
Polynesian
How
racist
woman?
do you want to get here?
Polynesian, yeah. Pick your ethnicity on the Pacific. She's like this weird hodgepodge Jenga of DNA, which makes her the hottest woman in the world.
I can get by. I've seen British people. Let's mix up the DNA. I'm getting behind that 100%.
I can't argue with that.
It was just two teenage boy point of view for me.
It was wacky, it was fun, but at least it was short.
Yes. So it gets 5 sweaty palms out of 10.
That was going to be a 5 for me because it was enjoyable, even if it was not finished.
And it was short, so it was merciful.
Exactly.
And that brings us to Deep Sit, which we just did.
Yeah. We gave that a rating of, I believe, 7 and 8 last time.
Yes.
You got mad at me for the implication.
You made me like 0.8, like 0.1% more racist than you. Because of the, let's call it 8 out of 10 dated terminology.
Yeah, I have high hopes for Cyclops, because I don't know if you got the message I sent a couple days ago, but halfway through the prologue of Cyclops, I went, oh my god, I specifically remember reading this in the back of the car on like a camping trip.
That has to be a great memory. Do you want to like poke the memory there, or do you want to leave it intact? We could skip the book if we just want to leave it intact
I'm
as a memory.
excited to, because I don't remember how it ends. I think I know what is in the crate, like what that relates to, the mystery crate people. but I do not remember anything else about the billionaires or a moon colony. I have no memory of that whatsoever. So I have to read this book to figure out what the hell was going on.
It's all the things. It looks excellent.
But I'm excited for this one being Gonzo again.
I can't wait. This one's going to be good. But this was a nice breather episode and a trip down memory lane. I can't believe
hooray,
the scarcity of books we've gone through. It's taken us a long time to get here, but it's been fun.
It has. We're getting through these faster, theoretically, so we'll see if we can get Cyclops down to 6 episodes again.
And as I said to you before, I didn't know Icarus had the sibling.
But if not, we're having fun. I'm learning a lot, mostly like editing software.
I'm having fun maintaining my speech aptitude, which is failing rapidly. But
mine too.
This helps a great deal.
This is most of the talking I do in a given week, so...
This is the only talking I do, aside from, stop, put that down.
Yeah, your kids are at that age.
They just want...
Mine just don't talk to me at all.
The older one does both at the same time. Talks to me and doesn't talk to me simultaneously. It is a wonderful piece of manipulation that I did not attain when I was her age, so it is a masterstroke. I just didn't go home.
She's so advanced.
Yeah, and they don't have... I didn't know suburban kids stay home. You have to drive them everywhere they want to go. That's why my parents never left Brooklyn. This is now I understand.
Mine just left on a bus, like while we were talking.
All by themselves?
Yeah. If it involves her friends, she's like, I'm not waiting for a ride. I'm taking a bus. See ya. I'm like, excellent. I'm so proud, actually, right now.
I'm proud. That's
you
wonderful.
got on a bus to go do something. Fuck yeah.
That's magnificent. You're being a great parent.
Well, I sit here and podcast. I'm the best. All right.
How much can we avoid our families? We're podcasting about the Clive Cussler books.
I should probably get back to work.
Oh, I have to go buy your cat's adorable. I have to buy a cape. I don't go to Katie's parent-teacher nights. She gets good grades. Why mess with it? But she's crafted this tale she wants me to lean into for an improv exercise. That cat is purring like it's his job.
I was holding her up funny. I think that was put me down or I'll fucking murder you.
You were going to lose an eye. Get back to work, Topper. Build those bridges.
Woo! All right. See you next time, folks.
Bye, everyone.
Looking back after all this time, marveling at how far we've come. 7 books, 7 plots, and a lot of dirt pit. Are we having fun? Topper and Nancy, getting down on the bed. Remember that time stole the donkey. Remember that time the Dirk was gay. Remember that time he fought a battleship using only his face. Al Pacino keeps getting shot. Lawrence Smith keeps getting laid. Senator Kirk keeps getting